Welcome to an emergency edition of the Times Lakers show. I'm Dan Woike, and we don't know where Brad Turner is. Maybe he's in Dallas. Actually, he is in Dallas. He's with the Clippers. But the news was too big to wait for BT. The Lakers have fired Coach Darvin Ham today after 2 seasons, after a trip to the Western Conference Finals last year, after an in-season tournament win this year, and a better record. Is this a surprise? And on paper, it might look like one, but the way the Lakers have operated here over the past week or so, it's not been a surprise. I think we had a couple of incidents occur. You had the fans chanting for Darvin's firing at a home game after game 3. It's been a year in which I think his connection with the locker room has kind of gone up and down as different roster sort of tweaks and rotation changes and starting lineup shifts didn't work out. The team took too long to get to the lineup that it landed on. I think that's a really fair critique. And I think for those reasons, the Lakers moved on. It's the business. It's a tough business. I do think that the counter to this is sort of, if you are a person who believes that all is right now that the Lakers have fired their head coach, I've got news for you. I don't agree with that either. I think that complex problems usually have complex solutions, and the Lakers are facing complex problems. LeBron James is older today than he was yesterday. I know he's a free agent. I think the expectation is that he'll be back next season, but that's not going to make the Lakers any more patient with whoever takes this job next. LeBron James, I've said this on many, many platforms. I've said it in stories. He's maybe the most win now athlete of all time today. There isn't a player at his stage in his career, an athlete in his stage of his or her career, that is performing as well as LeBron James is, with a ticking clock the way that LeBron James has been. He's going to be in his 22nd season next year. He's going to turn 40 years old. I don't know how realistic it is to think that he will still be somebody who is, say, establishing career best like he did this past season with his three-point percentage. That's a challenge, and it's a challenge coaching a player like that. I think, he is going to be a guy who, monitors his energy during games, who monitors things like, how hard is he playing on the defensive end based on what his team needs for him to do on the offensive end. Like, that's always going to be a challenge. And whoever gets this job next is going to still have to tackle that challenge. This team is also, its other max star is Anthony Davis, and he was incredibly healthy this year, incredibly durable. But there were big losses down the stretch that came from kind of fluke stuff that happened to Anthony Davis physically, right? Like, this isn't anything a coach can fix. This is just sort of the reality of the situation. When you have a physical player in the paint who has an injury kind of past. Those are big, big factors in all of this, and they're going to be huge challenges for whoever's next. I think another part of this pie is sort of like, what about the way that Darvin handled sort of some internal growth? And I think, this is probably something that falls on him and players in terms of, take a player like Austin Reeves, who didn't have the kind of season he wanted. Why is that? How much of that was coaching? Darvin Ham went away from him early in the season. I think that was an issue. I think injuries to Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent had a huge ripple effect on their season. It forced Austin Reeves in the second half of the year to be the primary on-the-ball defender, which undoubtedly hurt his legs on the offensive end. And that's going to be a huge priority for him this offseason in terms of being more physically capable to give more on both sides of the basketball for 38, 39 minutes in games. It's a challenging job. I was speaking to a coaching source today about it, and he would be a first-time head coach. And we can get to candidates here in a minute. And it's still an attractive job because the Lakers are about winning, but there are challenges. It's a star-driven culture, and I think you end up having to acquiesce a lot to your stars. And that's hard when you're a guy who wants to preach accountability. When you're it's tough to get everybody in that line. Let's talk about what's next, because plenty of time to dissect why this happened, but what really matters now is how they move forward. I'm writing a piece right now for the LA Times. I really think it's going to be one of three things. And it should be a wide net. One, you do what the Lakers expect, or what we all expect the Lakers to do. And that's to kind of, if you were driving east for a minute, now you're going to drive west. And I might have pointed in the wrong directions, but you don't know where I live. The turnaround here would be you hire an establishment head coach. You hire someone who has experience. You hire someone who has done the job and been good at it, right? Now, those names that are out there are guys like Kenny Atkinson. Terry Stotts is a guy the Lakers have been fond of in the past. James Borrego, had some success in Charlotte. He is on the New Orleans staff now. There are coaches like that around the league, right? You're going to hear Tyronn Lue's name some. I don't believe it's that realistic because of his contract situation with the Clippers, but sure, right? Like that is the establishment sort of line of succession, which would be you hired a first time coach in Darvin Ham. Let's not make the same mistake again. To me, that closes you off though to other candidates, right? Because if you hire the right first time coach, teams have had success with this. Nick Nurse comes to mind, Ime Udoka, as guys that have in their early time with teams in their first year have been really successful. So who are those names? Denver assistant coach David Adelman is a guy. If you can't beat him, steal him type of a thing. Works with Michael Malone. He's the son of former NBA coach Rick Adelman. Minnesota's Micah Nori is a guy who's going to get a lot of publicity here with Chris Finch dealing with his knee surgery. People think really highly of him. I think, whether or not he's head coach material is still to be determined. But like those types of assistants, right? Guys in the front of the best benches, Chris Quinn in Miami, those types of people, right? And then I think you have the wild cards, right? And to me, the wildest card in all of this is your star player's podcast partner and business partner, JJ Redick. He is a guy who has expressed some interest in coaching. I know JJ, and he's incredibly smart, incredibly interested in the nuances of basketball. He's, I think, going to get a look if he's interested. It really should be a wide net in this search. There isn't a clear, sort of obvious decision to be made, which is on sort of Rob Pelinka to get it right. This will be the third head coach he's hired. I don't know many GMs who would get a fourth. I think that's a factor in this too. So we'll see what the Lakers do. I would imagine the search will begin soon. Like, subscribe, keep an eye on this stuff. There's a lot to talk about despite the season being over. We'll do our versions of postseason grades. We'll get into the draft. We'll get into free agency. There's a lot still ahead of us. But this was so urgent that I had to bring you guys inside my bedroom, my spare bedroom, to be clear. My wife would never let me have this stuff on the wall in our actual bedroom. To discuss, another seismic change in the Lakers. So thanks for listening. We've got more coming at LAtimes.com. Like and subscribe, leave questions, leave comments, subscribe to the newsletter, all that fun stuff. And we will talk to you soon.